Tribe Habits here, recording another voiceover for another training log, and we are at the end of the rotation again. This is Friday's session, the fourth and final session of the week, of a training week. And yeah, we'll be starting with just some handstand holds. Recently, about 20 something days ago, I started taking handstand seriously again. In the past, I had done consecutive handstand training days, but my wrists are quite fragile and they started giving me issues, and I was very inconsistent with it. Now, however, they feel considerably better, and I've been doing handstands on a daily basis to try to get the skill down. The max I've gotten has been 30 seconds, full hold, and of course, like, I start on the wall. I don't kick into the handstand. This allows me to be far more consistent with my handstands, and it's been 22 days since I've started this consecutive everyday handstand training approach, and we'll see when I get to my goal, which is about 60-second hold, let's say 45 to 60-second handstand hold. I'll be pretty happy with that. If I can do that on a daily basis, that would be fantastic. Yeah, so this is how this session has been looking for a month and a half now. So I do my one set of front lever, then I do one set of handstand push-up negatives. I decided to go with handstand push-up negatives back when I decided I was going to be extremely consistent with variations and whatnot, because I thought this was the best way to be strict with my form and make sure I was keeping that variable in check as weeks went on, instead of doing normal handstand push-ups, because just the grip width and head placement makes such a huge difference on how many reps I can do on wall assisted handstand push-ups, that I thought there would be too much wiggle room in there for what I'm trying to do here with my current approach to training. So negatives was the natural choice. After that, I tried to slow them down as much as possible, although I can see in my footage that it's clear I've got a sticking point and right about 90-degree or close to 90-degree angle on my arms. I just let go. Not on purpose, obviously. In my head, I'm trying to do, like, the intention is to hold it as much as possible, but in the footage, it is clear that I don't have any strength in that end range. Then for the second set of pulling movements, I do one set of very strict rows, inverted rows. What I mean by strict is I'm very conscious of the way I place my rib cage. So I don't allow myself to flare a lot, which is far more comfortable of a pulling position for me. I don't know if it is naturally so, or if it is just because throughout the years, I just got myself comfortable with that position as I intentionally tried to flare out more and more, thinking I was going to engage my back more. I've seen great progress on my back development, back musculature development, especially like harmonious development with this technique, just staying very neutral spined, not allowing my ribcage to flare anyway. And then I also do one set, so my second set of push is lateral raises. So yeah, like I've said in the past, when I first mentioned that I was going to trim down volume further, so further trim down volume, that I was only going to do 2 sets for most stuff. So yeah, I do one set of negatives on handstand push-up wall assisted negatives, and then I do one set of lateral raises. Anyways, now we go on to the next section. And now for this week's dose of somewhat cohesive scattered thoughts. Conflict in the modern world isn't intuitive. Physical violence is looked down upon, seen as something primitive and shameful, yet verbal assault is uncomfortably regular and banal. This favoritism exists simply because in the verbal conflict there's more room for impurity. The gray area is vast, whilst in the physical realm it is puny. Engaging in aggression, regardless of motive, is often painted as wrongdoing, and so the more explicit the conflict, the more you are seen as a bad person. Aggression and conflict are natural, and physically engaging in those realms is extremely intuitive. Kids don't solve problems via fighting because they are bad people. They do so because it is extremely natural and simple. Reverting back to such simplistic methods of resolution might not be the most appropriate, but it would surely help alleviate the stress leftovers of unclear confrontation and their respective side effects. But this is too much of a reach for current times, and instead I propose something far more achievable. That is, frequent engagement in physical confrontation in an artificial setting. Familiarizing oneself with the wonders and horrors of physical conflict would greatly benefit anyone's tolerance for bullshit that would otherwise have gotten an aggressive reaction out of them. And so, one could say knowing the nature of violence is the best way to minimize it. The key isn't to marginalize it, it's to embrace it and seek understanding. It's a crucial part of living, after all. Most casual conflict on a day-to-day basis emerges from ignorance. If familiar with the nature of what they are beginning to engage in, most would probably refrain. Instead, most dive headfirst because they misjudge their own strength and undervalue their opponent's ability to hurt them. Martial arts are beautiful because they offer a way to safely familiarize oneself with violence in a controlled environment, whilst not glorifying it, at least for the most part. Violence, like most things, can be fun, it can be sad, and it can feel good, whilst also feeling terrible. When gazing at your opponent, you may feel excited or terrified, and upon defeating him, you may feel confident and have a sense of accomplishment, or you might feel shaken by how aware of your own mortality you are just by glancing at your pal's broken body. We are both human after all. In the end, though, violence is just another tool for you to get to know yourself. It is only when faced with true adversity that one gets to see what he is truly like.